In the bitter winter of 1941, the map of Europe was inked with battle lines and suffering. Poland, erased and partitioned by iron and shadow, existed mostly in memory and among the exiled. Britain and France had declared war on Germany. The Soviet side of the border had its own horrors. Yet there, among the embers of a displaced Polish government huddled in London and beneath the ashes of their homeland's devastation, a peculiar decision was made, a declaration of war against Japan. This was no saber-rattling. No ships set sail for distant waters, and no regiments mustered by icy dawns. Instead, this was a paper war, a gesture, rooted in loyalty, in protest, and in solidarity with those already fighting the Axis powers. It was conducted not for strategy, but for integrity. Poland, already at war with Germany and the Soviet Union, could not be seen to ignore Germany's faraway ally. Far away, in the diplomatic chambers of Tokyo, the declaration arrived, quietly, with no fanfare. There was no panic, just a momentary pause as officials read and digested the weightless threat. In the grand calculus of empire, Poland presented no real risk to Tokyo. The borders between their armies were as impassable as the philosophical rift between their wars. The Polish embassies in Japan never closed their doors. The diplomats stayed, their routine undisturbed except for perhaps a moment's private reflection on the absurdities of human affairs. For the Japanese government, the response was silence, a refusal to dignify symbolism with further escalation. Perhaps it was strategy, perhaps courtesy, or perhaps an intuitive acknowledgement that Poland, battered by foes on two fronts, could scarcely muster more than words. And for Poland, isolated and fragmented, the act was a final assertion of its values, a symbolic gesture to a world already deafened by explosions. In the streets of Warsaw, such diplomatic unmusics did not reach the ears of ordinary Poles. In Hiroshima, the average citizen had no reason to know that Warsaw, stripped of its city, let alone armies, had spoken their nation's name. For both peoples, there was no thunder, only the distant rumble of wars that were real. As years passed, and both Japan and Poland weathered transformation after transformation, the silent war became a footnote in each nation's story. The Poland that re-emerged after the war remembered its wounds, but little of the war on paper with Japan. And Japan, scanning its own history for meaning, found greater lessons in defeat and rebirth. Still, that quiet exchange lingers in the chronicles of strange wartime encounters. It stood as a fragile testament to the fact that wars do not always play out with bombast or bloodshed. Sometimes, nations choose to fight with principles and end with dignity. This was a war declared by Poland in the name of ideals, and concluded by Japan through the art of omission, a war that existed, stubbornly, as an idea shared by diplomats but never by soldiers or citizens.